Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the October 14th new moon in Libra and solar eclipse happening at 1:24 p.m. Eastern. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please check a time zone converter for your local time. A couple of quick announcements. Eclipse readings are available where you and I can go from eclipse to eclipse and look at the totality of the cycle, every date for your chart, and understand how they are working together to help elevate your love life and financial life and personal life. Very exciting. I recommend for that particular service that you book a total of 60 minutes for your reading rather than 30. In 30 minutes, I won't be able to answer a lot of follow-up questions. And I've seen in the last 2 weeks, as people want to do that with me, that they've needed to book a second reading on top of the initial 30 minutes just to get it all done. So rather than doing that, I strongly recommend you just book 60 at the outset. And that way we can cover this year, we can cover next year in the eclipse cycle, and we can look at where things are headed for you. If you are new here, welcome. At the end of each lunar update, I provide something called First Look. And that's where I look ahead to the lunation after this, which should be the full moon in Aries. And we'll talk about what that looks like, what kind of energy is coming in, and how that connects to this one. So stick around until the end. And lastly, in the most recent eclipse video that I put out, it was about the totality of the Aries Libra eclipse cycle. I did forget an eclipse. I missed one. Mea culpa. I'm human. And I also made up for it. So in the description box and in the pinned comment below that video, you will get the date, the time, and my interpretation for the missing eclipse that takes place on the Aries Libra eclipse axis in 2025, if you would like to have a look at that. So the total cycle is complete there in that video. Just the final one is a written in piece of detail for you. Let's get into this new moon in Libra and solar eclipse. It's a pretty exciting one. I think that there have been a lot of lunations this year where I've had opportunity to say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I love this energy. Well, this one is actually one of those as well. I feel like both the eclipse cycle, which is mostly solar, and each of the new and full moons, especially at the beginning of the year, have been so extraordinarily positive, wrought with new beginnings, ripe for renewals and homecomings to self, that 2023 has really been a complete year of emergence and reemergence for a lot of people. This particular new moon in Libra solar eclipse is no different. So we have here the new moon right around the 21st degree of Libra. I believe it's at this time is actually inaccurate. It's actually about 1:44 or 1:47 p.m. I'll make sure I update it in the description box because I had to play with it on my phone to get it exact. This 21st degree of Libra is where it's all going down. That's where the party is. But you'll notice that there's like a whole team of energies here with the new moon. So let's go through them one by one. We've got a conjunction to Mercury in Libra. Mercury is consciousness and communication. We have a conjunction to Pallas. Pallas is all about self-protection and protection of others. We have a conjunction to the South Node, which connects us to all things past, past in this lifetime, past in past lifetimes. We also have an opposition here from Chiron. Many people stop at Chiron being the wounded healer. but I'm going to break down for you in a moment why that is kind of an inaccurate shorthand for Chiron. There's so much more depth here because Chiron can bring a lot of wisdom as well. And in addition to this, we have what we as astrologers call a yod or yod, depending upon how you want to pronounce it. To this new moon, I say yod. You guys let me know. I don't know. What do you say in the comment, yod or yod? You have a yod to this new moon and eclipse from Neptune and from Uranus here, which is making it extra special and giving us a lot of options and choice. Neptune there in Pisces, Neptune being all about our connection to liminal spaces, spirituality, the unseen world, and Uranus being about our connection to the divine and our understanding of divine mind, God within us more than anything else. What's fun about this for me, I really love seeing the yod here, specifically because in the way that I read, and many of you know, I don't read like other astrologers. I was tutored in a very different way, so my understanding is pretty unique. But when I read this, in conjunctions always talk about a non-conversation between two planets. We have Neptune in conjunct the solar eclipse and the new moon. We have Uranus in conjunct as well. When planets are in an in conjunction, aka a non-conversation, we also, I don't, there's another word for this that's not on the tip of my tongue. When the in conjunction is going on, the energy of the two in conjunct planets cannot be incorporated into the planet that they are speaking to. The yod is the rare exception where they can be incorporated, meaning we can bring spiritual energy and our inner divine energy into this lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, and we actually should be bringing it into it because of what a big deal this is, and I'll get to that in a minute. It can be brought in, but only if these two are working together. Now, one of my astrology teachers who I talk about all the time on the channel, Nadia Shah, she's a brilliant astrologer, talks about sextiles, which these two planets are in, being a matter of getting benefit, but benefit through our own work. Conjunctions, trines, they bring the confluence of energies together without any effort from us. But in order for us to get effort from a sextile or benefit from a sextile, we have to apply our own effort. We're going to talk about what that'll mean in a minute. But that's what's going to amplify the new beginning energy in this new moon solar eclipse. New moons are new beginnings. Solar eclipses are new beginnings on steroids, as Nadia says. And this new beginning is all in the sign of Libra. Balance, partnership, fairness, justice, equity, equality, and the sign of commitment and partnership. So it's very exciting. We can get this new beginning that's taking a higher level spiritual path that really has a lot of deep connection to our God self, our source self within. We can get that if we are willing to have Neptune and Uranus work together. And I'm going to talk about how to do that in a minute. Super exciting. These two planets, Neptune and Uranus, that are in conjunct but can be incorporated in, are what's going to allow this new moon in Libra and solar eclipse to bring in new relationships, new partnerships in a way, in particular, with old collaborators or old loves, old partners, because the South Node is indicated here. We're going to get the opportunity to have that new beginning at a higher octave, higher level, old patterns completely resolved by leaning into these two very spiritual parts of ourselves. Otherwise, we're looking at repeating a cycle, which none of us want to do. So this is really important to understand because the two, without these two, if we're walking into relationship without any new level of spiritual understanding, without any connection to our divine self within, if we're walking into this in a more kind of human only type of way, right? We're not looking at anything kind of spiritual understanding or awareness about this. If we're doing it from that place, unfortunately, the very physical earth energy and mental air energy, and we see there's a lot of earth and air in this particular chart, lots of placements in those two signs. When making decisions, there can be a bit of a splitting of ourselves, valuing the part of us that wants safety or wants predictability or wants something logical. And some of you are, I talk to you and you're in the middle of like love triangle circumstances, and you've got a safe person and a person you love, and you're trying to sort that out. Unfortunately, with this particular type of energy, and there's tons of commitment energy in this chart, which I'm going to talk about momentarily, stepping into the safe decision is what is going to be the most obvious thing to do with a practical Libra new moon. And it'll be easy to do with these two parts of ourselves offline. In other words, not communicating with this new moon solar eclipse. We'll take the safe route. But as this solar eclipse energy wanes, as we move in the next 90 days away from this energy, the safe route and making commitment in the safe route, unfortunately, we'll have some blowback. It's going to feel like shackles rather than fun, or rather than like a commitment that's a true reflection of yourself as these other parts of us come back online. And so this is why it's going to be really important to locate your inner connection to the spiritual world, whatever that means to you. Some of you do it through meditation. Some of you do it through prayer. Some of you do it through ritual or mantra. I've got no judgments about your path on that, but find your way to connect to your own inner spiritual truth. And then find your way to connect to the divine or source or God within you. God lives within you, outside of you, all around you, right? That there is a piece of divine spark within you. We're going to have to connect to that too while we're moving through the next 90 days of this eclipse energy, in order to come through it with a decision that honors the totality of who we are. No splitting. Okay. No reevaluation. So take your time. I mean, that's one of the gifts of Libra energy, is that it can deliberate. It can go back and forth. It can see both sides of a thing. Many of you who are Libras sometimes catch a little flack for that, but I'm here to say it has its purpose. There's a reason why we can see both sides of a thing, and it's necessary in this particular solar eclipse to honor that within us. Okay. Putting this Neptune Uranus sextile to this solar eclipse and new moon to work for us is going to really support our personal alignment with both. It's going to support love and relationship, and having a love and relationship energy land. And that's really some of the dominant energy here. We also have Juno sextile this particular new moon. And we've got Pluto in a square to it, a loose but nevertheless square. Juno is our marriage, partnership, and commitment planet. Pluto is all about resurrections, new beginnings. Endings that new beginnings that come from endings first. It governs that entire cycle. So death, an ending, afterlife or integration and learning, and then resurrection or new beginning, rebirth. Pluto governs the entirety of that cycle. And so Pluto has just finished moving retrograde in the planetary astrology. It's now moving direct. So we are on the rebirth side of this, which is highlighted by the solar eclipse, which is all about new beginnings, And in Libra, and with Juno talking to it and Venus having a conversation with it, these are the co-rulers of Libra, Venus and Juno. Venus all about love and attraction, magnetism. Juno about the stabilization into commitment. There's a resurrection energy here of something in the world of love and partnership that this new moon in Libra and solar eclipse is speaking quite loudly about. And the reason why it's so specific about resurrection or about the past as well is because of that placement of the South Node sitting next to it. This eclipse is really literally magnetizing something out from the past and into the present. It's resurrected through the Plutonian energy here, and it's solidified through Venus and Juno here. Okay. What's unique in this, let me just clear some of this up. What's going to be unique in this for us is accessing the power of language because of how close Mercury sits to this new moon in Libra solar eclipse. Mercury is all about consciousness and communication. We know we have multiple levels of consciousness, the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious. With Mercury in an air sign, which makes it quite comfortable and gives some of its best work in Libra, and specifically being about consciousness and thought form, we have the ability with our words and our thoughts to take whatever's coming in through the past life portal here and neutralize it with our words. This is literally the power. And again, this is only accessible if you bring in the spiritual pieces of yourself, right? Because these planets are also in conjunct this Mercury. This is only accessible if we are going to be willing to access our divine creatorship ability, understand that words create worlds, utilize language, thought, and verbal in order to cleanse the emotional charge of the experiences we've had. Okay. It's in this, for some, it's going to be just about memories coming up. It won't necessarily, like a new cycle of healing won't necessarily bring a person, but for a lot of you, it's going to be interpersonal related. What's happening here is as we have this resurrection of some kind of collaborative partnership, relationship, romantic or business resurfacing in this energy. With it, whether it's with someone new or someone old, it could be someone new, but a situation similar to something old that reminds you of something old, with Pluto and the South Node so heavily featured here. We get the opportunity to take those memories that this triggers and use that mercurial energy to make the energies or the memories neutral, make them inert, make it so that the memories no longer cause us pain or suffering. We can remember what happened, but emotional reaction to it is just no longer a part of it. We haven't held on. We can use this South Node portal to release. Okay. So communication and thinking through things is really going to be key. Understanding your power, and that's the Plutonian piece. Pluto deals with not just resurrection cycles, but fear. It also deals with power, personal power. Understanding your power in this and really harnessing that you really have the power to do this is going to also be key. Okay. Primary communication is kind of something that's going to be needed as well. So what you're saying to another person and what you're hearing from them, really making sure that the message sent is the message received on both sides. Sometimes we can have a lot of breakdown when someone's communicating X, but what we heard was Z or Z. If the message sent and the message received aren't congruent, we can find some problems in this energy or shutdown in this energy. So making sure that you're hearing from another person clearly, but also making sure what you're saying to yourself and about other people is actually constructive. Again, words create worlds. And with this particular Mercury sitting so close to the eclipse energy, and this is newness on steroids, as Nadia says, your words have the capacity to come into form and literally strike like lightning faster than anything you've seen. And many of you have started reporting this. You've seen this leading up to this eclipse in the last 90 days. We've moved into a hyper manifestation window where words are coming into form very quickly. There's a tremendous level of acceleration in the world of your 3D, literally things coming from your mind into form very, very rapidly. We're at the peak of some of this energy with this solar eclipse. So just be watchful with what you're letting yourself think about your past or about other people, especially if you're the kind of person who can ruminate. There's a lot of air energy here, so rumination is quite possible. Just make sure that even if you don't feel it, if you speak new over your memories, you will get new in the way they unfold in current time manifestation. So if you're remembering that ex and then how they cheated on you and how awful that was, and you're ruminating, give yourself permission to say out of your own mouth and think in your own mind, that happened before, but it's not happening now. My future has the potential to be better than my past. I release and I let go of all pain associated with that memory. I'm not the person who attracted that circumstance then. I've learned, I've grown. Therefore, it's not possible for me to attract that kind of circumstance now. I decree it done. By using your language in these kinds of ways, as again, speaking to the ether, speaking to the air, here we go. Neptune, here. Leveraging your divine creatorship, here. Uranus, here. By utilizing your words in this way and their thoughts in this way, you enact your power or exert your will on the way your life unfolds. You are not at mercy of the circumstances, but you are now moving into creation of the circumstances. Okay. I think this is something that's extremely important to understand with these eclipses because there's so much power in them. Many times we come to readings and we want to know, well, what's going to happen to me? Who's coming in? Who's coming out? What's going to end? What's going to begin? And we look at astrology as this causative type of force, right? We look to the stars as some sort of like they're making things happen to me, but that's every bit as disempowering as some sort of puppeteering God who's forcing things on you as well. That's not life. That's not how this is. And so within this, we get the opportunity to co-create. We get the opportunity to live in our power, especially because of Pluto's placement here. So much power in this that really the divine is looking at us and saying, okay, what do you want? We'll bring it, but you just got to be clear in your pictures and in your language and words. And so I've talked about this more recently in recent lunar updates. If you're new, once again, welcome. Lovely to have you here. Hit the subscribe button if you're feeling this content. But I've talked about this with you guys over the course of this year, how important it is to limit your language to only what you want. And this particular solar eclipse energy, the 90 days having led up to it, which I've harped on this with y'all about, and the 90 days walking away from it, which I'll continue to remind us about, is so important to stay on top of what you're allowing yourself to think and speak. I've got there's someone that I know in a group that I'm a part of, and she really wants love and relationship. And by all intents and purposes, like by outer judgment, if you looked at the level of accomplishment she lives at in her world, her resume, her physical looks and beauty, I mean, the woman is drop dead gorgeous. And not just in a limited way, like not in that kind of like, pretty to certain people if that's your kind of taste way, but she's got like globally good looks. And she's kind, you know, she's a generous hearted person. But and she's hetero, but everything out of her mouth is how garbage men are. And it's become very clear to see, you know, everything she shares in, you know, the group chat is, you know, making fun of men or making fun of their ways. It becomes very easy to see how men are drawn to her and then bounce right back out. Like they come close because the outside is sparkly, but the inside is like she hasn't cleaned it up in a long time. And so she's by her vibrational frequency, she didn't even have to open her mouth. We as intuitive beings, and we're all becoming more intuitive, people can feel it before she says it. And I know if she's saying it to us, she's acting on it with them. So wherever you have stuff that's unhealed about your past, when it comes to love and relationship, when it comes to receiving love or giving love or having the kind of relationship that you know it's possible for you. And the reason you know it's possible is because you conceived it. You can't conceive of anything that's not possible for you. That's not the way this works. So if you dreamed it, it's havable. It's in the realm of havability for you. If there's a gap there, it's really important that you take this kind of eclipse and you clean it up. You begin to really restrict and check yourself around one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake. I want love. I hate men. You cannot occupy both states at the same time. It will not work. So I give you that so that, because I love Libra. Libra is all about that balance, but Libra gives us mirrors and it allows us to see with what appears in our third dimension through this eclipse precisely where we're stuck and precisely what we need to clean up. Okay. So let me give you 7 ways. I'm going to give you a 7-point list of kind of interpretations that as I was meditating on this. 7, and it's aren't the precise and exact and absolute 7. There's other ways this could play out, but in your creativity, you'll see it for yourself. I'm just going to give you the 7 that came to mind as I was really studying this energy. I'm going to give you 7 ways that this could play out for you. And if you've noticed any of these, drop them in the comments. This could be number 1, obviously, South Node, resurrection, Pluto, South Node, past life. This could be someone from the past manifesting, looking for a relationship in the present. You could manifest yourself out of the past. Go to someone looking for a second chance with this kind of energy. Okay. There's number 2, availability with this connection to the South Node to use this energy to flush past energy out with words and language. Again, decreeing all old hurt, pain, and patterns done, complete, nullified, deleted, void, released, canceled, and removed from your life now and forever from this. Number 3, you have the option to call in past life emotional strengths, balance, or rectify past life wrongs in the present. So if you know that there's anything, those of you who deal or work in the realm of past life stuff, this is a great opportunity to create clearance and completion, forgiveness and release, restoration, and justice in those circumstances. Highly recommend forgiveness. Really key here. And it's the option, number 4, to do number 3 in the present life with a present life rectification, restoration of emotional strengths or balance, rectifying anything that you may have done or said in the past with new language and an apology or amends making. Perfect new moon solar eclipse for that. I know someone who in the last 90 days is doing like a 12-step thing and was in the step about making amends. I think that might be one of the steps. So like I got an amends phone call and I was like, all right. But it's very much how this solar eclipse is setting itself up. And then number 5, we have an opportunity for life to balance out things that were taken or not given or withheld in the past and bring it into the present, again, via the power of words, using your connection to God within and God without, Uranus and then Neptune, respectively. Your capacity to be able to use language in this way to bring things that have been out of balance into your life finally into balance. And so if you've got an imbalance in work, you work too much and you need to rectify that, great opportunity to declare, decree language over yourself, who you are and how you're going to be from here forward. If you've got an imbalance in money, overspending or under earning, you're operating at either extreme. This is a perfect solar eclipse to bring these things back into balance, harnessing your God within and God without to do so, again, through language. Okay. So balance about things that haven't been quite balanced in the past, we can bring them into balance in the present. The scales always like to be in balance. That's a sign, the symbol for Libra. Number 6, this is an opportunity for life to come into vibrational alignment with where your thoughts and language have already been. So many of you know through the course of this year, I have been preparing you for some energies that are coming next year and that are already here this year around manifestation and capacity to call things in. I've spoken to you at length about the necessity of paying attention to what's wandering through your mind and coming out of your mouth. This is manifestation 101, regardless of how your chart works for manifestation. If it comes through the mind and out of the mouth, the next step is through the hands and into the third dimension. So this is if you've been speaking and decreeing and being in alignment this whole year with your manifestation and your creation, you've not been double-minded at all. At this particular new moon in Libra solar eclipse, you'll see life snap into place. You'll see life kind of snap align to this. So very important, those of you who aren't seeing that at this time, still have future opportunities. You can clean it up now. And then number 7, the final pattern that the final way I'm seeing this particular new moon in Libra and solar eclipse present itself is eclipsing new patterns of relationship and communication, eclipsing in the new and eclipsing out the old. Okay. So I like to see this for all of us. It's really giving us an opportunity to stand powerfully in our capacity to build our worlds according to our words, and in particular in relationship and communication and collaboration. Okay. Enhancing, as I mentioned, this lunation's focus on relationship resolutions and clear new beginnings is Juno and Venus, nearly sextile the new moon solar eclipse. As I said, she represents marriage and commitments. Venus represents magnetism and attraction. And she's quickly moving Juno into Earth sign Virgo, which I like to see because that lends Earth sign energy, lends third dimensional solidification to relationships coming into form at this time. Okay. We also, for some of you, there's one last interpretation I want to mention here. For some of us, there will be a return, repeat of a lesson that began but was never integrated, got cut short, got cut off, never had the opportunity to blossom or grow you up. And so where this Pluto retrograde square the eclipse axis is going, anytime we have Pluto or any planet retrograde square the transiting nodal axis, what we get is second chances. And Pluto has already gone direct, gone retrograde. Now it's going direct again. We've got a second chance, specifically in the realm of relationship and identity, who we are and our authenticity, and calling in partners and collaborators that match that. The Plutonian second chance in this circumstance is all about everything Pluto represents. So there will be power related to this, and we get squeamish about power. But it's actually nothing to be afraid of. It's very neutral in and of itself. It's about fear and confronting the things that we are afraid of. But it's also about rebirthing and learning how to let go, learning how to not keep dragging around the baggage of the past. Your current lover is not your ex. Your current marriage is not the way your parents' marriage was. This is an opportunity to cut ties with things that didn't serve us and didn't work for us, but it's going to be through the process of a rerun, return, or repeat of a lesson that had already begun, but we never fully integrated it. Okay. And so repeats are not punishment, they're solidifications of our own power. And they give us the opportunity to hold a manifestation in its entirety instead of part way. Many of you have seen partial manifestations. I talked to a lot of you who are like, I got my person to come in, my special, but then they bounced right back out. Or, I got this promotion, but it didn't come with the pay. Or, I got a house in the neighborhood I wanted, but it's not, the kind of house that I wanted. Partial manifestations are a direct reflection of partial ownership of our true power and our true nature. And so in this second chance energy of 2023, we get an opportunity to see our true power and really dance with it, especially through an eclipse like this. Okay. And this, for those of you, because Libra is specifically about relationships, for those of you who are in and out love connections or situationships, the resurgence of either that connection or a person who reminds you of that person. This isn't a test to see if you say no again. It's not that. Let's just be clear. This is a opportunity to balance out communication, clean up your thought forms that would even attract a rerun in the first place. This is an opportunity to deal with the mental processes that facilitated things going the way they went last time, if they went quote unquote south, because we've got the south node here. Okay. So I just want to kind of bring y'all into something that I'm seeing a lot of in my comment section, in the comment section around YouTube, which I don't tend to spend a lot of time in because I find that people tend to use it like a journal, and it's not that. It's not a great place to put all your personal business, guys. Here's the deal. I'm seeing a lot of people come into this energy and mistake the ability to go on your internet devices and block other human beings through a physical digital block, or issuing ultimatums. If you don't do this, then we can't blah, 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 or telling people off like, well, you've always been this way and that way and this way, so I'm out. You can't be a part of my life anymore. This is it. You're either in or you're out. I'm seeing a lot of that kind of attitude pass for power, and it is not that, people. Let's be clear. True power is knowing that you are okay and can handle anything that happens, no matter what happens. Okay. True power is knowing what you want and being able to stand in it and really communicate it and negotiate with people around how to get it rather than black or white, you're in or you're out. You got to be this way or you can't be with, like, that's not relationship power. Okay. True power is really being able to see another's pain and resultant patterns and not make those behavioral patterns about you, not take that personal, to have that interior boundary that allows you to see, wow, that person's really struggling. Okay, that's not about me. And I can act from a place of compassion or act from a place of love in response to that. True power is being able to be directly connected to source and love from that place, and not from the place of I'll only give what I'm getting. Okay. Love can heal. It really can, but not when it's offered codependently or through power games and ultimatums and manipulation or withholding from other people. Okay. So I say that because, like I said, like I'm seeing the internets get kind of rife with this level of like, I took my power back, I cut them off, I blocked them, and I told them if they can't act this way, then they can't be with me. I'm seeing too much of that. Y'all, that's not love. That's not power. That's not you. Okay. Heal the pain and come home to yourself and your own power. Okay. You'll know when you are ready to release something or walk away from something, or when a thing is really and truly done for you because your heart won't be hooked in it anymore. You won't even have to have that kind of conversation. You'll just be able to say, thank you. These experiences have really enriched me. And I'm not attracted anymore. There's no pull here for me anymore. There's no charge here for me to keep interacting with you in this way. If you have to go about the business of using a digital device to block someone or tell someone off or issue an ultimatum, you're not really done. You are just done feeling pain. And that's a call to healing inside of us, not a call to blocking people outside of us. Boundaries come naturally when we are actually in our power. They don't need to be forced via external mechanisms. They can simply be lived in, and the way and life responds to us through that identity. Okay. So sermon over. Thank you for listening. And if it resonated, hit the like. If you're new, hit the subscribe. But power is a really key theme and feature of the eclipses of 2023 because of Pluto's communication with this nodal axis. And I'm going to talk about this more in a minute. But if this has truly resonated for you and you want to understand your love and relationship trajectory into 2024, how to use these eclipses in true power and consciously instead of getting pushed around by your emotions or your reactions to the past or your subconscious and manifesting unintentionally things that you don't want, repeating cycles you don't want, which you see how heavily featured the South Node is here. Like, we'll repeat if we can't evolve. Then book a reading with me. We can look at your patterning. We can understand why it has gone the way it's gone. We can see where you can get out of the patterning via your chart, where your personal exits are to that patterning. And we can start the process of getting you on a higher level of trajectory and love and partnership. And it doesn't even have to be romantic relationship. Your romantic relationships might be fine, but maybe you've got an issue with a parent or you have an issue with a business partner. Been talking to a lot of folks in that space as well. The opportunity to get on a new timeline it's open. Like, the doorway is here. The new stuff is going to come in, but I promise you, it's based for it to be experienced as new. You're going to have to evolve yourself and really deal with, here's that Chiron component once again, some of the pain pieces that have the past remanifesting and regurgitating itself in your present over and over and over again. You can have new, you can have better, but it's really going to be predicated on your ability to access your creatorship here. And we can look at how to do that through your chart, your manifestation process. Many people's patterns are listed in their chart. And not everyone who has certain patterns manifests them. So booking information is below the video in the description box. I'm over at kmoonastro.com. I recommend the 60-minute personal reading if you financially can do it. 30 minutes if you only have a couple of questions, 3 questions. But if you really want to deep dive and you want to look at the eclipses and patterns, do yourself a favor and do the 60 in this particular energy. I always tell you guys, look, a 30 is enough for this, or a 30-minute is enough for that. Like, I don't want you booking more than what you need. But I'm seeing too many people come through my calendar and not get through the information in 30 minutes and then be like, can you extend? And I have to be like, no, I have somebody right after you. This week has been booked. Do yourself a favor, do the full 60. We'll get through all of it, and then you'll be good to go into 2024. Okay. So I want to give you guys deeper access and understanding of this power thing. Now, some of you saw this previously, but it's worth a recap. I did at the Capricorn full moon this year, because this Plutonian energy was speaking so loudly to the nodal axis. I used the allegory listed in the imagery of the Tarot's Devil card to illustrate how Pluto and how power work for all of us. So I'm going to give you guys access to that again. I think what I may do, instead of replaying the clip here, is just pull that clip out of that video and then place it as like a new video in this particular, like at this new moon, so you can re-listen to that, because that really will help you understand, oh, okay, this is what I have to do. And it'll solidify for some of you, especially those of you who are like, oh, I can't afford a reading right now. You'll watch that and you'll go, okay, got it. I see the direction I need to go in here. I see what I have to do. So I'll pull that out and put it separate. I was going to play the clip, but that's going to make this video way too long. Okay, so the manifestation of relationships through this eclipse is here. Like, this is wedding energy. This is proposal energy. This is let's get back together energy for a lot of people. It hinges on our ability to know who we are in power through love and emotional balance. Pluto is the power. The emotional balance is Libra. Libra and Venus and Juno are here bringing the love aspects of this. It's in this way that the rejection or woundedness that Chiron's bringing to the table turns itself into wisdom. Okay. One of the things about Chiron that's really important to understand is that Chiron was very different than the other centaurs. In Chiron's mythology, most people kind of stop at, well, he got hit with a poison arrow and then he died and then he was resurrected into a star and he's immortal. And they said that, that particular wound from the poison arrows, the wounding part that doesn't go away. That's a really cursory reading of Pluto. I would like to offer you guys something much more holistic. In Pluto's nativity, cursory reading of Chiron. In Chiron's nativity, Chiron really, he was born of a mortal woman and a god. The god had assumed the shape of a horse. We digress. Let's come back to the point, Kmon. And so he got born as one of the centaurs. Both of his parents rejected him, wanted nothing to do with him. As one of the centaurs, though, Chiron was different. All the centaurs had a human torso and 4 legs, but if you look at the kind of the artwork around Chiron, and I covered this in the Heal Your Chiron Wound course, if you look at the artwork around Chiron and the way he's mentioned, visually in the Greek iconography, Chiron actually has 2 human feet in the front and then 2 horse hooves in the back. So among even the group that he is most like, he's also very different. So he's not fully human, not fully centaur, not fully god. Of all the individuals hanging out in and around Mount Olympus, he was unique and unto himself. This Chiron energy is highlighting for us a lot of our uniqueness and our difference and the ways in which we are a special creation, unlike any other, and unto ourselves. Now, you can imagine, because y'all know how kids are, you grow up different. Not everyone's very nice about that. And so Chiron had to mature in his process around self-acceptance before anyone else accepted him. He was brought in by some adoptive parents who fostered him and taught him the healing arts, philosophy, mathematics, and science. And among all of the beings there, different types of beings on Mount Olympus, in the mythology, he was one of the most educated and one of the most learned, accessible to him only through the process of having gone through that rejection first. And so through your own rejection and your own experiences of wounding at a new moon, solar eclipse like this, you will find that your wisdom is very accessible to you if you're willing to look for it as wisdom. Do the self-acceptance in particular, because Chiron is transiting the sign of Aries, the sign of the self, at this time. And so within this, we get this opportunity to have a look, because like I said, there's going to be some resurfacings in this that look a little too much like the past for some of y'all's liking. But within that, we have the opportunity to look back at everything we've been through and go, okay, what did I learn? What did I learn about me and what's unique about me and where I need to accept me and try not to make me be like everyone else? And what do I now know, given what I know about me, I need in collaboration, communication, and partnership with other people in order to facilitate a new beginning that's actually new and not a repeat. So that Chiron piece is really important. I wanted to make sure to highlight that for us. I want to give you guys a special note for those that carry someone special in your heart and are clear you want new beginnings with that particular person. In a new moon solar eclipse like this, and with Chiron, dredging up maybe some of the old hurts from the past, it is so important to understand that it's not possible to manifest a new beginning when we still harbor old hurt and pain with that person or with anyone for that matter, and blocking someone is not going to heal it. Old pain acts like a magnet and it redraws in the exact experience over again so we can pick up where we left off in the process of learning so that we can actually let it go. In this vein of learning for myself, and I'll speak to my own journey because I feel like that might help some of us, some of you listening, I had to learn how to let go of every previously existing pattern between me and my dad, which is where I got my romantic relationship template from the parents, every previously existing pattern, a relationship that I adopted unconsciously from my parents' marriage and the pain that had. I had to let that go about the way they used to be. And I had to let go of all of the previous pain that existed between myself and my counterpart. And we were years in, it was deep. So I had to learn how to see each of those people, me and my dad, my mom and my dad's marriage, my mom and my counterpart. I had to learn how to see them all through new eyes. I had to be willing to understand them with a new and a healed heart. And I had to detach, cut off, circumcise, put an end to ruminating about how long it had been, how long my dad was the way he was, or how long my counterpart was the way they were. I had to detach from the amount of time the patterns repeated themselves. I had to let go of those stories that attached me in any way to the old processes. There was no way that I could have a new experience with them with a full projection of the old cycling through my mind and heart repeatedly. And in the process of letting go of all the old hurt, all the old pain, and the old disappointments, I became so different that I started showing up differently. I was communicating differently. I was behaving differently. I was processing and understanding their behaviors differently and with new eyes. And in that way, because I was so different, I was responding different. And because I was responding different and I was being new with them, they became new with me. The reset always starts within, guys, every single time. Okay. So the invitation is here to really use this South Node energy to flush away and call in a reset with your second chance. Okay. Now, I invite you all to take this to heart, especially if you have any type of repeating relationship pattern with a specific person, or the pattern repeats regardless of the person in front of you. So often we look at astrology and we can see a pattern in a chart that a person may be prone to. You can see it in a chart when love triangles are a problem for a person, or when verbal abuse or abandonment can be a problem, verbal or physical abuse or abandonment or rejection. You can see overgiving in a chart. The solution is also right there in your own chart. Okay. But there are some people with those exact same chart markers who never manifest any of that stuff, who settle in, they're happily committed for years, they get married, they've never had love triangles, markers for it in the chart, never had verbal abuse, markers for it are in the chart, whose partner and them get along and they work wonderfully together. The only difference between the people who manifest those placements in the light versus those who manifest them in the shadow is the choices that people are making as patterns start to show themselves and emerge. And so I really want to say this. I love Tom Caron of Be Something Wonderful, because he says this often about things like astrology or like exterior circumstances to you. These are all secondary causes, right? And I really want you to understand this. The primary cause for everything we are experiencing as adults is within us. Astrology can't force something on you. You have to participate in order to get light or shadow. And oftentimes we're participating so unconsciously that we're only getting shadow. Okay. So this is a new moon solar eclipse. That's an opportunity to rewrite some patterns. Now, I love it. If you want to work with me, you absolutely can. I'm over at kmoonastro.com. We can get you off the repeating pattern truck and get you on the new pattern path in one reading. Okay, now that doesn't mean you won't have work to do after the reading. Frequently, my clients leave with homework, but the homework is what's going to assist you in getting the new pattern. Okay, so book with me over at kmoonastro.com. This energy is going to be active and impactful up to 90 days from here, but it's most potent the closer we are to the exact date. So I've got room next week and room the following week and the week after that. Like, I opened up all of October. So if you know you want to get this while we're at the peak energy, book with me this month. Okay. Now, for some of you, this will bring the renewal and resurrection, like I said, of certain business partnerships and collaborations. This new moon in Libra, the solar eclipse, all of the cardinal signs, and this is a heavy cardinal energy, speak to initiative and initiations and new beginnings. That's the particular mode of cardinal energy lends itself to starting. Libra is certainly one of these, and business partnership is absolutely included under the umbrella of Libra partnerships. We have the option to accept or decline the renewal of those collaborations based on their alignment with our trajectories. And there's an invitation to think creatively about win-win situations before saying no, to think about how things could work better for you this time. If they didn't quite work well last time, thank you, Mercury, direct. And how it could be structured to empower you rather than limit you. Thank you, Mercury, almost square Pluto here. Okay, lots of opportunities with that. Okay, so to be clear, with Mars also sextile Juno at this particular lunation, Juno again being about those kind of solidified contract type partnerships, i.e., marriage, and Mars here being the movement of energy that is outward projecting. Mars is an energy that rolls and pushes forward. It's about our ambition. In a water sign like Scorpio, Mars will be moving instinctually through this. And so just make sure to check your instincts with a little reasoning before you say yes or no, because our instincts and our intuition are not the same thing. Instinct has all the patterning of everything we've experienced in the past written into it. Intuition is free of that, it's pure of that. And so your instincts may see a relationship coming toward you and you go, scary, no relationships, lone wolf forever. You may be that person, right? But that's because of all the past stuff. And here's Mars hanging out in the sign that deals with the past, Scorpio, written into it. So you're going to have to restrain your instincts a little bit, do some rational thinking. Thank you, Mercury, to look at this and say, maybe there's something new that could happen here. Yeah. Opportunity for that is here. Use your language to get it. Okay. Talk to people offering the business opportunities is my counsel for those of you who are seeing business opportunities. Negotiate. I love this lunation because you can ask for what you want and negotiate around it and very likely get it. One of my favorite negotiation questions is to always ask, and I think I got this from Allison Armstrong, who's been featured on the channel a couple times. She's in the Tools for Union playlist. What would you need from me in order to be able to provide? Fill in the blank or X, Y, and Z, right? If you know what you want, right? Let's just say in business, right? Somebody's bringing an opportunity back to you and they're like, please, please work with me, blah, blah, blah. We could do this, we could do that. And it's feeling like, okay, this could be aligned for me, but not the way it was before. Think about what you need. Know what you want. It is so important to know what you want. And then go back to the people who want you to do X, Y, or Z or partner or collaborate in A, B, or C way and say, okay, yeah, I'm willing to consider it. Here's what I would need to be able to make it workable for me. What would you need from me to be able to provide that? Okay. And that kind of, like, let's talk about our needs. Let's not give out ultimatums. I'll never forget earlier this year at one of the previous cycle of eclipses, one of my clients came to me. She had just gotten into relationship and she said, so I was into this guy. I want to know if it has a future. What does my chart say? And her chart looked good for relationship. I was like, so did you tell him you were into him? She said, yes. So last Saturday, I told him that I really liked what we had going on. It felt really good and aligned for me. I wanted to explore it deeper, and I just asked him, you know, what would it take for you to be a yes to dating me exclusively? And that was a wrap. They had been together after that. I was like, that is a powerful question, sister. Well done on you. And so, again, negotiation, communication, not ultimatums. You got it, peeps? I think you got it. Okay. We also have Vesta trine Mars at this lunation as well. So here's Vesta in another water sign. There's lots of emotional information and energy being exchanged between our higher self and our human self and between people with this energy. Vesta brings in an energy of dedication. And she's another commitment asteroid here. She focuses on follow through. So, with Vesta speaking harmoniously to Mars, which is our motivation and ambition, real opportunities to live in the state of commitment coming forward. We also have Saturn opposite Juno. Whenever Saturn and Juno get in communication, they amplify and enhance one another's commitment focus and follow through focus. So there's certainly contracts that could be signed here. Read the fine print, negotiate, 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 get what you want out of this. Okay, there's win-win solutions in this. No compromise has to be had here. Okay, but because they are opposite in this energy, what we have with this is a little bit of challenge in the process of coming to terms, okay, especially if you've got the business agreement stuff, or perhaps it may take a little slow, may go a little slower, take a little bit of extra negotiation or time as both parties. Unfortunately, Juno and Leo could be a little bit stubborn. She's also sitting out here with Lilith, and there's a lot of my way, my way, my way, my way in her energy. And Saturn only amplifying some of that. But if you're willing to let go of past data to make your current decisions and start new in this energy and just be honest, like I learned some stuff, here's what I need. And trust you're powerful enough to get it. If not here, certainly elsewhere. Life is abundant. You are a creator incarnate. What you want is havable once you own your full power. This isn't your last chance, last stop, last train. There's plethora of opportunities, and you can negotiate to get what you want from this one, as long as you can approach it from that place of internal power and stand in your divine creatorship with this. Remember, Neptune, Uranus, capacity to create. As long as you can do that, you're going to get the best of this Saturn opposite Juno energy and really find very refined, unique solutions, again, that are very win-win for all parties involved. Now, lastly, I'll say at this lunation, there's some fertility. There's always fertility in new moons and solar eclipses for either conception or birth or adoption, or, what do they call that? In vitro fertilization these days. I don't know what the peoples are doing, but, egg harvesting, all of that stuff the peoples do to make the babies. There's a lot of fertility energy in this. If y'all want to make babies in this, you can. And the conception energy is very high. And it's specifically, we've got Jupiter here in communication with Ceres. She's one of the mothers of the zodiac. Okay. Jupiter is in loose conversation here with Chericlo. She's another one of the mothers. That's a square. Opposition in square is not the most fertile, but it's fertile enough. You could still make babies in this when they're in conversation. And so with Uranus in the mix as well, and Uranus bringing surprises, pregnancy could come as a surprise, or surprise changes with a mother figure or female authority figure in your life. Like, surprise, I need to move my mother into an assisted living facility or get round the clock care for her, or surprise, You know, my mother's a new mom again. Like I've seen this happen in this kind of energy where an adult child doesn't think their mom's getting pregnant anymore and they're like in their 20s and next thing they know, mom's having a new baby and it's like, "Wait, what? I have a younger sibling who's 20 years younger than me?" Yes, you do. There's that kind of energy here. Um so be aware of this if you want to get pregnant and if you don't want to get pregnant. Changes in status with regard to mothering and motherhood is definitely here. Okay. That's what I got. I love y'all. Curious how you pronounce yod or yod. Drop it in the comments. Also very curious. Well, if you're very curious about your chart and how to work these eclipses to your advantage instead of getting pushed around by them, and how to kind of guarantee that you don't repeat a cycle in this energy, because, like I said, this is very much past life relationship stuff, partnership stuff, resurrecting itself very much into the present. If you want to not repeat a cycle and you want something new, even if something past comes in, holla, kmoonastro.com. Link is below the video. You can book there. In this energy, again, strongly recommend an hour. You can do it. It is it's challenging to get everything you need in this kind of energy with 30 minutes. And when the energy calls for 30 minutes, I'll tell you that. I have told y'all that before. Like, in order to answer questions about this particular topic, we only need 30 minutes. For this lunation, I recommend a full hour. And we'll go eclipse to eclipse, looking at the full cycle in your chart and really break down how to escape repeating patterns from your past and partnerships. All right. Let's do first look, guys. Is anyone else ready for first look? I am. I want to see the full moon in Aries, I think it is. Let's take a look. Let's see what it is. No, 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 no. It's going to be the full moon in Taurus, I think. Let me pull that up and we'll have a look. Awesome. So here is our full moon in Taurus and lunar eclipse taking place on October 28th at 4:15 p.m. Eastern. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States. So this is part of a different but overlapping eclipse cycle. So we just finished talking about a Libra solar eclipse. That's part of the Aries Libra eclipse cycle. And just to quickly remind you, Aries and Libra, this particular full moon in Taurus is a lunar eclipse taking place on the Taurus Scorpio eclipse axis. Okay. So, full moon in Taurus, here is our full moon. Let me move that out of the way. There's our full moon at the 5th degree of Taurus. And let's just see, there's a slew of energy opposite the full moon, in addition to the sun, which is quite normal. But we also have the creation goddess. We've got Mercury, we've got Mars, and all of this hanging out in the sign of completions and endings. We also have a communication here, sextile from Saturn. Very nice. I like to see that. We've got almost a square here from Pluto. It's interesting. Definitely a square here from Cheroklo. And let's see, who else is in the mix? We're done with the Leo stuff, thankfully. But we've got Juno and Lilith kicking it, bringing a trine energy in from Virgo. So that's interesting. And okay, that's what we got. And we've got a little bit of fullness action here from Capricorn. Let's see. So this is my first look at this. Let me get some assessments going. My first impression is that this is overall quite a positive energy, but it's extraordinarily focused on completions. Dotting I's, crossing T's, putting periods on sentences, wrapping up processes and cycles that we have long since outgrown. Lots of completion. And so wherever Scorpio sits in your chart, or Taurus in your chart, that house is the house undergoing said completion or ending. South node is also, you could say, slightly featured here. North node slightly featured here. It's too far away for it to be totally featured, but certainly lots of completions and endings. Scorpio is a sign that deals with endings specifically. Pluto is the correlating planet. Again, deals with endings. We're in the resurrection part of this Plutonian cycle, but lunar eclipses and full moons, they are ending, they're like double endings. So, completing a cycle for sure. I like the Saturnian piece because a Saturn sextile lends itself to some boundaries being implemented with this. I also really like seeing the Cheroklo piece of this, because Cheroklo, even though she's square, Cheroklo is such a benefactor. She sits in intercession for us in the unseen world, helping us move ourselves along or reclaim things that have been lost. And so, if anything kind of goes or gets taken away from you in this full moon in Taurus and lunar eclipse energy, something better is coming in its place. So, I really like to be able to report that, especially with Cheroklo being the piece that is the harbinger of something new. There's kind of almost a guarantee that wherever there's literally something completing in this energy, there's also something opening. We just had the solar eclipse on a new eclipse axis, new timelines. But yeah, this looks like a pretty solid completion and closure here. A lot of it, no, I don't want to say a lot of it, some of it for some of you is going to be partnership related, like just not being able to get to terms with people on things and the details. That's Juno and Virgo. And then this Lilith thing here, you being so clear about what you want and they being clear about what they want is just not achievable in this energy. Like you two are just on different pages, different timelines. So there is some release with this. And I think the thing that I really like to see is the Mars and the Mercury conjunct, both of them direct, neither one of them talking to Neptune. So there does seem to be a level of clear communication about what's closing. Like this doesn't look like anyone's getting left hanging. This doesn't look like anything's confusing or unclear about it. It looks like a very definitive, yep, we're done with this particular full moon in Taurus and lunar eclipse. Taurus deals with our value system, or what we personally value within ourselves and want to preserve and nourish and nurture and cultivate within ourselves. In particular, deals with money. And Taurus and Scorpio are our financial axis. The two of them together deal with cash in and cash out. They specifically deal with our values. It's the axis of values in astrology. So wherever things are misaligned with your value set and who you've become, there's the Taurus Scorpio eclipse cycle was an eclipse cycle that was about closures. Most of the eclipses on that axis were lunar eclipses. So the closing things around this, we're like a year and some change, a year and a half into closures with this axis. This closure, number one, not a surprise. Uranus is not heavily featured. It was previously, but it's not now. Whatever was coming to a close, you probably already knew it was coming to a close. So there's nothing here that's going to blindside you, really. There's probably like, okay, well, this is to be expected. But within that, obviously do the grief work that you need to do if something's closing that you were hoping would either resurrect, reformat itself, or stay open. for some, there will be a level of grief work and grief processing that needs to happen here. But for many, given how closure oriented the Taurus Scorpio eclipse cycle has been, much of your grieving has already occurred. For some of you, not yet. But for others of you, it has. And there's lots of new beginnings already unfolding in this energy. But definitely some level of completion with this. For some of you, it's going to be financial, like you finally paid off of a debt. For some of you, it's going to be partnership and romantic, like you finally moved out of a situationship into a full relationship, and that cycle or season of situationshipness is over. For others of you, it could be like career, like stepping out of or ending, a stage of your career that worked in one way because now you've got a degree. Now you can work in a new way and make new money, or you're retiring and you're moving into your third act, final chapter. Some changes around money can come with this as well. So exciting. I love it. It's all for our evolution and growth and betterment. If you found some resonance in what you heard today, invitation is to subscribe if you're new, hit the like button. And if you know you need some support in this energy about what's coming and what's going, definitely book with me over at kmoonastro.com. Be my honor to walk you through it and help you understand what the lessons are trying to help you get so you can jump onto your new timeline like right now, because we've got a lot of wonderful manifestation energy coming up next year. Tons of blessings in 2024, especially in the early part. But we got to let go of the hand of the old. We cannot keep holding on to that stuff. Got to let it go. So find me over there if you need some support. I love you guys. Take great care and bye for now.